Hey guys, it's Core Ross, and today we are building the Cyclops from Subnautica. So we're going to 3D print this, assemble it, and paint it. And links to the 3D files will be in the description below if you want to give it a go yourself. So you can see that I had quite a few failures with this 3D print, which was unfortunate. I thought I could get a nice batch out to begin with, but ended up having to do a lot of it solo. Now, what I will say is I brought the scale of this down 50%, which was a bad idea. So this thing's huge in its default size, which is actually gorgeous if you do print it out that size, I think. But I thought I'll reduce it 50%, it'll make it a bit more manageable, and it should all go together completely fine. And for the most part, that started off being the case and everything was coming together beautifully. But there was some parts like side pods and stuff that just I could not get to print at this scale without them failing. So some things definitely didn't scale down. So if you do 3D print this, I'd recommend going for that full size. But yeah, I certainly didn't want a big Subnautica submarine because the full-size one would be pretty huge. It'd be a hell of a sight, and I think the model itself is incredibly good. But yeah, I went ahead and I put together all the bits. I gotta say, the construction and design here is very, very good. And I went for a two-tone, so I printed it off in grey, left some of the bits unpainted, and then other bits I painted in silver to hopefully give it kind of a two-tone paint job when it was done. And overall, quite happy with the look. But certainly my newbie 3D printing abilities here really showed through. I've been getting better, but certainly this reminded me that I'm still new to this whole scene. And certainly if you're enjoying this little adventure with me, then hit subscribe and like on the video, because I'm only getting a couple of likes per video at this moment. And we're just under 500 subscribers. Now you can see that I used a lot of clamps to hold this together, which again would have been easier on a bigger model. And it was all about adding as much pressure as I could to hold all these different parts with as little seams as possible. But somehow managed to get there. You can see here all glued up. And now we're putting the next part in. And these all have their different like inserts and stuff that fit in. And just a matter of adding glue and then pressure fitting everything together as much as possible so that the whole thing would hopefully be held in place. And yeah, I think this at full size would have been way cooler. And I regret not just going for it full size. It would have, of course, taken probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 days to print the whole thing out, maybe even longer. But I probably would have overall had a lot less fails, and I think the final piece would have been astonishingly cool. It would have been huge, but it would have been absolutely amazing. And I think if I was a big Subnautica fan, I would have gone for it. But because I'm not quite into that game, I think that's the reason I never went full size with this. But anyway, here we are with the main body of the Cyclops, and I think this looks really nice. And I think the grey and silver paint job as well really does actually come off really well. And then here we have the actual canopy or the cockpit window. And this one's printed off in clear plastic. At this size, it didn't print off perfect, but it was good enough that I think we can totally use it. And then the rest is pressure fits in here. And well designed, I think this goes in really quite well. And then that really adds a heck of a cool touch once that's in. And you really do get the sense of this being a sub. So went and assembled the rear. Now, unfortunately, at this scale, I had a bit of issue putting that together. But for the most part, it went together okay. And this is the final product for me. Not as good as I would like. It definitely, the 3D model is better than what I've printed off here because I've just kind of messed up a little bit. But I would say that it is pretty damn phenomenal. If you do print this the original size of the 3D model, you're going to have no problems with it. And I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. And even though I think this is kind of a failed project, I do think what's come out here is still a pretty cool thing and part of my learning experience with 3D printing. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.